Hey guys, so this will be the first video of my Linux tutorial. I want to make educational cybersecurity videos and teach other people about cybersecurity. And I figured the best way, the first thing I should be teaching people is Linux. If you don't know Linux, you can't do cybersecurity. And that's just a fact. So yeah. So to get started with Linux, what is Linux? So Linux is an operating system. But the difference between Linux and Mac OS and Microsoft is that Linux, it is open sourced. What that means is it's not controlled by just a singular organization. A bunch of programmers around the world, they're the one that's like maintaining Linux. And Linux is not just one operating system. There's many types of different types of Linux, different versions of Linux, and those are called Linux distributions. And like each distributions, they have like their specific use cases. Like for example, Kali Linux. If you're if you're doing cybersecurity, you're probably gonna use Kali Linux at some point. And what Kali Linux is, it's just a Linux distributions, and it has a lot of pre-built cybersecurity tools like Burp Suite and Wireshark. And another pretty important thing that you should know about Linux is that everything in Linux, it is a file. I mean, that sounds kind of weird, but everything in Linux is a file. And what you would usually call a directory is just a file containing other files. And you might be wondering why is that, but it actually makes things a lot easier. I'm just refining the circles right now. Don't mind me. But and you can visualize the file directories in Linux like this big root directory. And it's usually represented by a slash. And in the root directory, it contains many other directories. The most common one would be, I mean, not common one, but important ones might be like the bin directory, the boot directory, and I don't know, the etc directory. You don't have to know what they do right now, but I'll probably make a video on it in the future, but you can search it up if you want. But it's basically, what I'm trying to say here is like you gotta know everything in Linux is a file. Like you can think of it as a folder, but it's really a file containing other files, and you treat everything, like all these things in Linux, the same. And when I said it makes things simpler, I mean by if you do a command, like command lines, commands on these things, it will be the same, no matter if it's a directory or it's a file. And I'll get to that later, but just remember, everything in Linux is a file. So yeah, I'll get started on the first lesson. And the first lesson I probably want to talk about is basic navigations. Basic navigation is how to get around Linux, how to see stuff, and how to just like navigate through it. through it. So okay, but before I start teaching you guys commands and stuff, just this command will probably be the most important command of all, which is the man command, the man and the dash help command. So what the man command is, a manual page, and I just want you guys to know it's okay to not know what a command does. I mean, you can always just search it up. You can always just go to the man page, and the dash help option. What these two are is the man page is basically a manual of like how to use a certain command, like what the command do and additional things you can add on to the command. And the dash help version is just like an abbreviated version of man. These two commands, they're probably the most important ones. When you forget what a certain command do, and or like how it works, you can just like do a man on it or a dash help on it, or you can always just search it up. And by the way, searching things up, it's an art. It's really important to know how to search things up, and you really just got to use your resources. It's okay to not know like a command. It's okay to not know how some things work. You can always just search it up. So, anyways, so basic Linux commands. The first thing is the command ls, and what this command do is it basically tells you what's in this directory. But before I run ls, the pwd command. What it stands for is print working directory, and what it does is it tells you where you're located in this like where you're located, like your path in the operating system. So right now I'm currently in /home/Kali, but yeah. And the ls command. What the ls command do is that it lists all the files in your directory, and if you and with Linux commands, sorry, with Linux commands, there are usually additional things you can add on to the Linux command. And what would be my additional things? You see just -L here. So if I do ls, right, it just shows me what's in here. But if I do ls-l, it not only shows me what's in this directory, but it also tells me additional informations. Like who's the owner of this. I'll probably not teach you guys. Anyways, like who's the owner of this directory, the group associated with it, like the date it was like last modified, etc. And this also pretty important things right here. You guys don't have to remember these right now, but like the D stands tells you that it's the directory, and these things it just tells you like who has like what permissions, or what kind of permission the root user has, what kind of permission the group has, and what kind of permission a regular user would have. So yeah. So, but this additional like options you can use with ls, like it's right here. It tells you all, and with the -a options, like some Linux files, they can be hidden. So if I do an ls, right, I can't see this hidden file. And how you know a file is hidden? If it has a dot in front, by the way. And the command I did right here was touch. It's just a command you use to like create files. So if I do ls, nothing pops up because it's a hidden file, and a hidden file has a dot before the name of it, right? And if I do ls-l, it doesn't pop up either. But if I do ls-a, you can see a bunch of hidden files actually. And yeah, it's always fun to just like read the man page. Like there's a bunch of other more stuff you can do with it. And yeah, that's the ls command. And the cd command is what I'll be talking about right now. So how do you get into this directory, right? You're in the Kali home directory right now, and how do you get to desktop? How do you get to documents, right? So that command will be cd. So if I want to go to documents, I would just put the command cd and documents. And for those of you wondering how it just like pops up in the end, in Linux, and I think in in like all operating systems, you just press tab, it's gonna autocomplete for you. But remember the difference between the autocompletes in Linux and Microsoft is that Linux is actually case sensitive. So if you put lowercase t instead of a capitalized T, it won't actually work because it's case sensitive. So yeah, anyways, the cd command. So if I want to go to desktop, I just put cd and desktop. And if I do the pwd command, you guys can see I'm actually in desktop right now. You guys can also see it from here. So that's the cd command. And before I use the command touch, right, to create a file. So how would you create a file here? Well, that's easy. To create a file is the mkdir command. And by the way, I actually won't be showing you guys a bunch of options in this video. I'll just be talking about like the commands. So yeah, so mkdir, right? That's the make directory. mk make dir directory, right? So to make a directory, mkdir, and let's just name this YouTube. And you guys can see this. Oh, I should have ran ls before I ran this, but okay. Anyways, I'll just do it again. So when I ran ls before, these were the directories, right? Run side did mkdir, and I do ls-l again. There will be YouTube 1. Okay, so now I have these two directories that I don't want, right? How will I delete them? Well, the command is pretty simple too. To remove a directory or a file, you use the rm command. So actually, I don't want this file right here, right? I can run rm Kali. Now that I do ls-l, that file was gone. I deleted that file. Okay, but if I do rm on a directory, So rm test, it tells me cannot remove test is a directory. So how would I do that? It's actually the same thing. You can use either you can use the rmdir command. So we had the mkdir command and the rmdir command. So you can do rmdir and then test. And the directory is actually not empty. So what that means is if you want to remove a directory, the things in it should be empty, right? Because yeah, so how would you do that? So if you do rm, if you go to the man page of rm, you can see remove directories and their contents recursively. So yeah, we just gotta use the -r command. Let me just see what's in this before I delete it. I don't think it's important. So rm-r test, and it didn't give me any error. And when I do ls-l, you guys can see that it's actually deleted. And up here, did you guys see what I did here? I ran the cd and dot, and it brought me from the test directory back to the desktop directory. And so what the dot means is, okay. What the dot do is it basically brings you from one level of the directory that you're currently in, back up top. So you're here right now, right? If you do dot, it brings you back to the higher level, the directory above you. So if I want to get out of desktop and return back to Kali, I would just do cd dot, right? Pretty simple. And actually, if you do ls-a, right, you guys can see the dot right here. The dot it represents the directory on the higher level than the directory that you're in right now. And you guys also see this dot right here. So what does this dot do? What this dot means is it represents the current directory. So if I do cd dot, it just brings me to the current directory. I'm still here. Push cd dot, I'm still here. So yeah. So yep, that's the like rm command, removing files and stuff. And the other command would be the cp command. So what is the cp command? It just basically copies the file. So if I want to copy, before I do that, just another command. Never mind. Vim. So what Vim, for those of you that don't know, Vim is like a text editor. It's like really lightweight. It's in like almost all Linux. I'm sorry, it's all like pre downloader in like almost all operating systems. So yeah. So I do. Oh, you guys don't have to know what I did there. So, and the cat command. How do you read what's in a file? You can use the cat command, by the way. So if you do cat test.txt, you guys can see the thing I just put in before, right? And the cp command, what it does is it just copies the content of one file onto another file. So before I had like SSSSS and text test.txt, right? So if I do cp test.txt, the file that you want to copy from, and then to test1.txt, the file that file that you want to copy to, and let's just do ls. You guys can see I copied this file and I created a new file and I copied it over here. So now if I do cat test1.txt, it's here. And okay, so test1.txt, I don't really like the name. How do you change names in Linux? That's pretty easy too. It's the mv command. So if I do test1.txt, the name that I want to change, and I can change it to YouTube again. So this is the name file that I want to change, and this is where I want to change it to. So now if I do ls-l, the test1.txt, it's actually gone, and now it's youtube.txt. So I have to now do cat youtube.txt. Yep, there will be like 5 S's. And the mv command, it's more than just like changing the name of it. You can also change the directory that this file is in. So if I do mv test.txt, and if I, for example, I want to move it to desktop, right? I would do now do ls. The test.txt is not in here, but now if I do go to desktop, it's actually in here. And how do I move it to like a directory before me, right? You can do the command. You can still use the test command, but how do you move it to like a directory before you, right? So you guys remember the dot dot? Yeah, I can use the dot dot here. Sorry, I forgot the TST. So when I do ls here, the test.txt, it's gone. But if I go back, it's actually here. And one really cool thing about Linux is that like you can combo a bunch of stuff together. So if I want to do mv test.txt, and I want to move it to like, I don't know, like the root directory, I can do this. / this is the root directory. This is like the highest level of like the directories, right? I can do mv test.txt and I can move it there. Right, so now if I go to the root directory, it's actually here. And just / thing, you can do a lot of stuff with a / thing. So if I want to go back to where I was here, right, I would have to do like cd home, cd Kali to get back to where I was before, right? But what I can do is I can just chain these together. So I can do /home and /Kali, and now I'm back. And you can do the same thing with the move command too. So if I want to move this test.txt back to where it was before, I can just do yep, it's back. So that's the cp move command. And actually this will be it for today. So just to reiterate, we learned how to see the files in our directory. We learned what a hidden file is. If it has a dot in it. We learned what the dot is, what the dot is. Oh, actually, before I do that, also another command, which is running a file. So if you want to run a file in Linux, you actually just do dot slash and then the file name. Now I'm not actually going to run it because it's not actually executable, and I don't have the permission to run it. But to like run a file, for example, if you have a script, a Python script, to run it, you would just do the dot slash and then the name of the file. And it kind of makes sense too, because the dot, it represents the current directory, and then the file name, right? So we learned about that, and we learned about how to navigate, like how to go through a directory, how to get out of a directory. So if I want to go to music, I would do cd music, and if I want to get out of music, I would just do cd dot dot. And we learned about how to create files. We learned about how to make directories. We learned about how to remove files. We learned about how to remove directories. You have to put a -r after the rm to remove the directory, because you gotta do recursively. You gotta recursively go through the directory and delete each and every one of the files, right? Yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next video.